Hey everybody, how you doing? IntoWeapons back again with you. I'm going to do a quick project today. This is the first time I've ever attempted something like this, but I'm going to take the O-PAP stock and handguards and try to protect them a little bit from the original rough woodage that they came with. It's got a lot of cosmoline and oils in it. Got some help from some friends on the AK Files forum, and they had mentioned just a quick way of doing it would maybe bake out the cosmoline in my oven at 230 degrees, which is what I'm doing now. I got it preheated, should be ready to go, and I'm going to leave it in there for about 20 to 30 minutes. Then I'm going to wipe it off with some clean cloth, that won't leave behind any kind of fuzz or anything, but I'm going to use some mineral spirits on there just to kind of pull that oil and stuff out of there after it's baked a little bit. So we'll go ahead and see how that works. After that's all done, I'm going to go ahead and do some sanding with it, and then we're going to go ahead and just put a few coats of this wipe-on polyurethane protectant on it. So that's kind of what my plan is here, guys. We'll see how it turns out. Hopefully I don't ruin this thing, and I'll show you the steps that we take. Alright guys, so we are 20 minutes in, and I think I'll run it for another 10 minutes, but just doing a quick check on it, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see, but it is definitely moist, especially the upper handguard. It's got a nice layer of oil or cosmoline on it, and then down on the lower handguard you can see there that it's kind of bubbling out as well. So it seems like it's working pretty well. The stock doesn't seem to have a whole lot coming out of it, but that didn't look like it was saturated with a lot of oils and cosmoline and such. So one thing I would recommend when you're doing this is that you have a open window, because it is pretty stinky in my kitchen right now, and I got some ventilation and it's keeping it somewhat bearable, but it's getting stinkier as time goes on. So we'll run another 10 minutes and we'll come back and check on it again. Alright guys, so we're going to pull it out. It's been another 10 minutes, so 30 minutes total. And the smell is pretty bad in here. But you'll notice that I got quite a bit there. Seems like it's bleeding out pretty well. I don't know if it'll focus on there. There we go. So we'll go ahead and wipe it off with some of this stuff. Alright, so what I'm going to do is focus more on the parts that I know really need it, like this upper handguard here, and I got some mineral spirits, and I switched over from the black cloth to just a white shirt that I had laying around. That way you guys can see more of what I'm able to pull off of here. And I'm just going to put a good amount of mineral spirits on here, I think, and see how it comes off. Just going to wipe away essentially at the surfaces, and you can see I'm getting a lot of black stuff coming off. And I'm just kind of lightly going over it. I get the bottom here real good because it's dripping all over. The pan actually has a good layer of it on the pan where this was sitting too, so it's definitely bleeding off very nicely. The wood is pretty hot. I'm wearing these gloves here more for the mineral spirits, but the heat's coming through it pretty well. But essentially this is what I'm going to do, guys, just kind of go through and wipe these parts down, these wood parts, with this mineral spirits, and see what I can pull up off here with this cloth. Alright, so after round one of wiping down with mineral spirits, I let it dry out a little bit, and then I did another pass on it. I put it in the oven for another 20 minutes and just did the same thing, wiped it down with the mineral spirits, and as you can see, it's drying out right now. The mineral spirits, looks like it dries out the wood pretty well. It definitely took out the oils and cosmoline, things of that nature. It looks really nice compared to what it did, a lot lighter. This is my last towel. As you can see, it wasn't pulling much out at all. So I don't think I'm going to repeat the process at this point. I think my next step is just going to be pulling it out and doing a little bit of sanding on it. See if we can get this to focus in again. So I think that's what we'll do next, guys, is do a little bit of sanding and go from there. Alright, so we got everything done with getting the oils and cosmoline out. We're going to move on to kind of sanding the parts and pieces. I'm going to use a 320 grit sandpaper. This is very fine. Probably could have used a little bit more of a finer type sandpaper even if I had some laying around, but this is all I had. So we're going to go ahead and sand down these parts. When you're sanding, I'm not a master at this or really know a whole lot about sanding wood, but essentially you just want to sand with the grain. I know that much, and just kind of following the grain back and forth. And we don't want to take off a whole lot here. We're just kind of really cleaning up the wood, making it a nice uniform surface before we go ahead and apply our polyurethane coating to it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, guys. We'll go ahead and sand it up. I'll show you the end result. Alright, so now that I have everything sanded, as you can see, the guards are a bit lighter. Still a little dark compared to the actual stock, but it's sanded down pretty nicely. It was pretty easy. I didn't take a whole lot off, like I said, maybe 20, 25, 30 minutes at most at sanding here. Went through one sheet of this 320 grit paper. And what we're going to do next is get the sawdust off, or the particles and stuff that are inside here, and make it ready for the polyurethane coating. And what they recommended doing was just using a cloth that's not going to leave behind any fuzz or anything, and some mineral spirits here to essentially wipe down these parts and remove any of the sawdust that's left behind. And you'll be able to tell it, as you can see, it moistened it real well, so you can tell exactly where you've coated and where you haven't coated. And I did sand the insides as well, as much as possible. I didn't spend a ton of time on it, like I said. I'm not a master here at this kind of stuff. I'm sure many of you are much better at this and probably spend a lot more time on this kind of thing than I am. But that's essentially it. We're going to wipe them down with mineral spirits and get the sawdust off them, and we'll come back and maybe do a coating of the polyurethane. Alright guys, so we got the sawdust off by using some mineral spirits on a cloth and just wiping it clean. I did put it out on the dryer in one of my heater vents there just to dry it off a little bit quicker. I wanted to make sure that mineral spirits had evaporated and that it was completely dry before we applied this wipe-on poly. What I'm going to use to apply it is this 100% cotton natural cheesecloth. It's kind of lint-free stuff, and it's kind of used in this application a lot, I've been told, and at least that's why I bought it a long time ago when I had original plans of doing some refinishing of some wood stocks and stuff. I'm going to use on this mini wax wipe-on poly, which is a hand rub beauty with polyurethane protection. I was going to go with the Tru-oil initially, but this has that polyurethane protection, which I kind of like. It's got a gloss finish. This is a clear gloss finish to it. So what we're going to do is, per the directions of this mini wax, is we're going to go ahead and pry off this top here, if I can get it with a screwdriver, I guess. And we're going to apply it with this cheesecloth pretty liberally, and kind of see how much comes out of here. Not a lot. So I'm going to dose this cheesecloth pretty well. And then we're just going to go ahead and rub it in. And as you can see, it coats very well. It's very liquidous material, I guess you could say. I know there's a word for it, but as you can see, it goes on really well, really easy. You just apply it by rubbing it around here on the furniture here. We're going to get the ends a little bit, all around the edges. We'll go ahead and get the insides as well. Probably should have done that first. Would have been probably a better idea. We'll just go ahead and run it through here. Really all this is doing is protecting the surfaces. We're not trying to make it look super pretty or anything like that, but this is going to give it a nice protection layer to it. It's going to give it a nice glossy look to it, which I prefer. Some people don't like that, but you can certainly buy the finish that doesn't have the gloss, just a satin finish. But once I got a good layer on there, I'm just going to again wipe it down real good, make sure everything's coated. And then we're going to go ahead and do the other pieces. What we're going to do is let that dry for about 2 to 3 hours, and then we're going to reapply another coat after I go over it with a 220 or maybe again another 320 grit sandpaper just to kind of rough it up a little bit. But once it dries for 2 to 3 hours, we'll come back and take another look. Alright, so we have the first coating of the Min Wax Wipe-On Polyurethane. I let it dry for about 3 hours now. It's a little bit humid out here, so it's still a little bit damp to the touch, but I think what I'll do is go ahead and we'll do a little bit of sanding on it with the 320 grit sandpaper, just rough it up a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and do the second coat. When I let the second coat dry, what I'll do is I'll pull it down into my basement workbench and kind of go from there. I was a little bit worried about the odors coming off this, but it's pretty minimal, so I don't think it'll be a big deal to finish this small project up inside. So like I said, what we're going to do is just go ahead and sand down a little bit, rough it up a little bit, and that's kind of what it calls for, is just kind of going over it a little bit like this, and again going with the grain as much as possible. I'll show you guys here the first coat how it kind of came out. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but Came out pretty nice, got a little bit of a shine to it, and the stock's a little bit dark still, as you can see, so I'm picturing that's going to be kind of how the outcome of it's going to be. But overall, looks like the polyurethane coating is working pretty well here. So what I'll do is go ahead and sand this stuff down off camera a little bit. I'll go ahead and apply the second coat using my cheesecloth again to it. We'll let it dry overnight, and then we'll come back to it tomorrow and probably do this process 2 more times. Alright guys, so last night I was able to put on an additional coat, so we have 3 coats on, all 3 pieces here, and I let it sit overnight and dry. It does have a little bit of tackiness to it, a little bit of stick to it. The upper handguard looks like it's pretty well done. I don't think I'll add another layer onto this or another coat. I did hear that it takes an initial 2 to 3 hours for it to do the initial dry, but then I could take upwards of 2 weeks in order for it to fully dry, and that's allowing the chemicals that are in here evaporate out, and it kind of fully hardens. So what I'm going to do is just do a little bit of light sanding, buffing on the lower handguard and the stock, and then I'm going to apply another coat of the Minwax polyurethane coating, which will probably finish up these 2 pieces. I have this one probably already done. I don't think I'm going to do anything more with it. We're going to let that dry, sit for another 24 hours, and then we're going to do a final reassembly of the gun. We should be all set to go. The actual firearm has been cleaned. I soaked it all in mineral spirits and got everything all taken out of there as far as the cosmoline. It's a gorgeous gun now. It's got a nice finish to it. All the parts and pieces are nice and clean and oiled and ready to go for the range. So as soon as the stock's ready, we should be able to do some test range footage and see how that comes out. But we'll go ahead and do another video here once the stock is complete. Alright, so we have everything done with the stock set and handguards. I ended up with 3 coats of polyurethane on the upper handguard, and the lower handguard and the stock I ended up with 5 coats of the polyurethane Minwax. So it's got a nice gloss to it, as you can see there. The crest kind of popped out a little bit after doing that, which was real nice. So at this point, guys, my next step here is just going to go ahead and reassemble the gun. I'll do that real quick off camera here, and I'll bring you back as soon as it's together, and we'll take a look at the finished product. Alright guys, we got it reassembled. Everything is back together, and I think it looks pretty good. You guys will have to tell me what you think. It wasn't as bad as I thought as far as time and difficulty to get the stock and the handguards in a a protected state. I didn't really like leaving it in the rough state that it is. I notice a lot when I go to the range and I have rough stocks like that, when my fingers get dirty from the ammo, the wood just takes that on like crazy and just leave black marks all over your stock. So I was happy to get this done before I was able to get to the range and do a little bit of test firing. Hopefully now that I put all this work into the stock and handguards, I don't go to the range and find out I got myself a lemon here and it jams up all the time, because that would be pretty disappointing. But I have faith these O-PAPs are pretty reliable. There hasn't been a lot of reported problems with them. So we'll take a closer look here for you guys. Hopefully you can kind of see that with the light situation the way it is. But I think it turned out pretty good. Again, let me know what you guys think. The crest there popped out quite a bit more than what it did before, which I'm really happy about. You can see that a little bit better than what it was. And overall, the finish looks pretty decent. I don't see a whole lot of areas where there's big scuffs or dings or issues with the finish on it, so I think it came out pretty well. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, I hope this helps somebody out that has the same rifle or a similar rifle with the kind of stocks that I had on, just rough stocks. So as always, I appreciate you guys watching, and until next time, take it easy.